Thursday. It's the Prop Queen Pod. I'm the Prop Queen, Ariel Epstein. We're going through the next hour. A lot of NFL today. I know there's a lot of NBA and NHL, so maybe one of our guests today will have some plays, like Andy Lang joining us from WagerTalk. He's going to give us some plays for the NFL for sure. A head start on the NFL Divisional Round is always a good help. And then we'll also see what else he's got. But John Jastremski, I haven't had enough of him today. We did our Ringer gambling show. It was at noon Eastern time. So in case you missed it, you can check it out on the YouTube page with me, JJ, and Raheem Palmer. We give out all our favorite sides, totals, props, etc. going into the weekend. This show, we focus on props. And John Jastremski is a great guest to have on in the next 10 minutes. He hosts the New York Ringer podcast, and he's going to tell us how John Harbaugh is going to help, maybe hurt, who knows, the Giants. And listen, I'll obviously give you my thoughts if you haven't heard them already. Again, with Shawn Michael and the damn Knicks, I don't care. But John Harbaugh, the big news of the day. It's kind of crazy because and of course, I'll have NFL Divisional Round Prop Queen edges at the end of the show, an early look at those, because the reason I was late today, actually, before I get into John Harbaugh, I was trying to finish the Prop Queen prop betting guide for the Divisional Round. It is going to be released today. I am adamant about that. It is going to be released today. But I need to finish it. It takes freaking forever. Shawn Michael, I know it was last night, but the news has been the big news of the day. John Harbaugh's news about finalizing a deal with the Giants broke at like 11 p.m. Eastern time last night. That's why I didn't end up finishing the damn Prop Queen guide, because I was too busy worried about the John Harbaugh news and getting some social media out. My first reaction to the John Harbaugh news going to the Giants was, great job by the Giants in snagging him. It was the first interview that John Harbaugh had, and the last. Clearly, he had his destination. The question mark was, is he going to go to Miami because he's friends with the owner of the Dolphins? Or was he going to go to a team that could win now? Well, not necessarily win now, but at least they don't have to restructure everything. The Giants have been going through their rebuilding phase for the last couple of years. They have a quarterback they believe in. Harbaugh's going to bring his offensive coordinator, Todd Monken, in. What that tells me, even though the Ravens are really good at disguising the problems in the room, John Harbaugh's really good at making sure no one thinks there's a problem. That's why he's going to do great in New York with the media. He's going to be loving messing with the New York media. But what really stands out, if you really, as a head coach, felt that your offensive coordinator sucked, as much as the Ravens fan base felt that Todd Monken sucked, then you probably wouldn't have brought him with you. Sure, there's loyalties, but it's not like these two have been together forever. It's been a few years. What that tells me, I'm just, trying to read a room. I don't know anything for sure, but I'm just going to assume. Lamar Jackson didn't care. Lamar Jackson did not give two craps to listen to John Harbaugh or Todd Monken. They never felt they had a chance. So they just tried their damn best. And Lamar just does what Lamar wants, which was the biggest issue with Cam Newton in Carolina. Doesn't matter. How many times in Carolina did Ron Rivera, as the head coach, say that he told Cam to stop running and Cam didn't care and got concussed? Certain quarterbacks will just do what they want. And I think Lamar hit the point that after 2 MVPs, he's doing what the hell he wants. So I believe that John Harbaugh feels with Todd Monken coming to New York with a Giants quarterback who's young, hungry, kind of proven, dealt with offensive line problems, dealt with injury problems, that he could bring Todd Monken in and they can mold Jackson Dart into being a good quarterback. I don't know if he'll be able to do it, but that's definitely John Harbaugh's thought process, that they didn't have a fair chance, the two of them, together in Baltimore. So let's try it in New York. We are going to know in the next 2 years if John Harbaugh is really that good a coach, if Lamar saved John Harbaugh from losing his job 5 years ago, or if Lamar was the reason John Harbaugh was having problems. We're going to know one of those 3 things in the next 2 years. If the New York Giants end up with 7-8 wins next year, we're going to know it might be a Lamar problem, especially if the Ravens struggle next year. If the Giants still suck, then sure, maybe we could say, okay, Lamar saved John Harbaugh's career. But I'm telling you, in the next 2 years, I will be surprised if the Giants are not a playoff contender. I know Mike Tomlin always made the Steelers like a 500 team, but John Harbaugh has been a playoff contender for many years of his career in Baltimore. Sean Michael, I said here's where you mess up, Sean Michael. None of us are in the room. I am not going to come out here sounding like I'm making a fact that Lamar's the problem. I said we're going to know one of three things in the next 2 years because of what John Harbaugh might be able to do in New York with the Giants. I know Lamar being a problem is a factor. That is a potential thing, which is why I think Todd Monken's coming over to the New York Giants with John Harbaugh. I love John. I thought he was a great head coach till the fourth quarter, which is where there were a lot of issues with the Giants this year for sure, and Brian Daboll, don't get me wrong. I'm curious if there's certain mistakes he'll fix. Now, Jack Settleman's a good friend of mine from Snapback Sports. He said he had a great post. Pretty much summed up, said, if I'm speaking to a Giants fan, what are we missing? Because the Giants are literally about to throw a ticker tape parade for themselves because John Harbaugh is coming to New York. First off, they're excited because the Giants for the last few years have done coordinator after coordinator that they've tested out. Certain coaches are just good coordinators and not good head coaches. Brian Daboll being one of them. The Giants have played with this head coach experiment for the last few years, and it hasn't worked. They're bringing in a head coach with a ton of experience, playoff experience, culture guy. He's going to build a great culture. And I think what was so intriguing to John Harbaugh is it's a bunch of young kids that are going to listen to him. I don't think the Ravens offense was listening to him. He could say all he wants, and he was really damn good, and so are the players of hiding all the issues. But we know this team has had issues for the last 3 years. And it looks like the offense especially was not listening to John Harbaugh. Like, it didn't feel like they weren't even really talking. Usually on the sidelines and early in Lamar's career, him and John were always together on the sidelines, high-fiving, hugging. Remember the whole, what do you want to do? Do you want to go for it? And Lamar said, yeah. We didn't see any of that in the last 2-3 years. I agree that it was time for a big change in Baltimore. They needed a change. They need a new face. We are going to find out if Lamar Jackson is the problem or not. If a head coach comes in and there are still issues because Lamar feels he could run the locker room and Lamar feels his attitude is like, I could do what I want, everyone in the offense is going to follow suit, especially the young receivers. John Harbaugh's a militant. He comes from a military family. They run a team like an old-fashioned football team, which is why the Giants' job was probably super intriguing. They think the job, I think he thinks it's intriguing because Lamar has run the Giants like an old-school organization. So did the Ravens. But again, a lot of the time, the Baltimore Ravens, the past few years, Lamar doesn't want to come to practice early. We're going to make later practices. Lamar doesn't want to do this. Lamar doesn't practice on Wednesdays. It trickles down. John Harbaugh lost the team, at least on the Ravens' offensive side of the ball. So he's going to go to this young team in New York. Really happy for him. Giants fans, I hope he doesn't F it up at the second half. I hope he doesn't F it up in the fourth quarter. The Giants defensively, they could fill a few holes, but they do have some decent spots on the defensive side of the ball, which is why they were in a lot of games this year. The Giants covered a lot of spreads this year. The Giants were in it until the end of the game a lot. I always like to read, where is it? The Warren Sharp football guides every year. And one of the top stats that Warren Sharp has, teams that covered but didn't win. He talks about it a lot in the NFL. When you see there are teams that covered a lot the year before but didn't win, look at OKC 2 years ago. OKC 2 years ago in the NBA covered a ton of spreads. They were one of the best teams against the spread in the NBA 2 years ago. The next year, I didn't expect them to win at all because they were so young, but they sure did. That's where I think the Giants are going to be. Again, the only concern about the New York Giants, injuries. Running back Cam Scatterbo, is he going to be healthy next year? Wide receiver Malik Neighbors, is he going to be healthy next year? once we start to see the injury updates on those two key players, we're going to know. Yeah, I don't need to see the schedule. I just need to know. I know that as a young group of players, John Harbaugh is going to be really good at molding this Giants team. I do wish that we had some numbers, like we won't get it till the Super Bowl, of teams next year just to get a good gist. Gosh, now we're fighting in the chat today. Sean, why do you have to stir up fights today? It's a good day for Giants fans. They haven't had a nice moment in so long. Let them have it. Let them have a nice day. As for the Ravens, no freaking clue. None. I know Minter and Flores are the two top people that the Ravens fan base wants to see. I think the coordinators are going to play a big role. I told you guys this the other day. I said, I will be extremely disappointed if the Baltimore Ravens do not pick up a defensive-minded head coach. Get a defensive-minded head coach. Let your coordinator be your predecessor. And then get a really good OC who has head coaching experience. There are a lot of offensive-minded former head coaches out there. I would love to see the Ravens get somebody who I guess Lamar would trust. Someone Lamar might buy into for the first few months of the year. Maybe. The chat is really just insane today. Sean, why are you causing a fight? I gotta stop. I gotta turn the chat off sometimes with you, Sean, because you distract me. The chat is blowing up. I love it. I love that we're all talking. That's great. But we're starting an absolute insane, stupid fight over numbers, stats, and opinions we don't even know yet. But I'll tell you this. Some people were when I posted on social media earlier today, really early this morning, I talked about how this is a big FU to Baltimore. Because John Harbaugh could have gone to another team, rebuilt a team like Miami from the ground up, and it would have taken time. John Harbaugh wanted to go to the biggest media market in the world, in New York. He wanted to go to a team that's ready to win right now because he wants to prove that he's a great head coach, because he's gotten a lot of crap the last couple of years. Baltimore hated him, and I think that it was unjustified to hate him as much as Baltimore did. Yes, it's time for a change in Baltimore, but it doesn't mean that we have to hate John Harbaugh. I certainly don't. I really hope that John Harbaugh has a ton of success in New York. And yes, I am very nervous because now I'm going to see John Harbaugh probably throw out a first pitch at Yankee Stadium, and him and Aaron Boone are going to shake hands, and I'm going to be really upset that I have to watch those two interact, because that was my biggest nightmare, is the two of them. I'm waiting for John Jastremski to join the show so he could give us some thoughts on the Giants. He should be tuning in any minute. I don't pay you, Sean. What are you talking about? Sean, I don't pay you. Do not spread rumors. Do not do that. I don't pay anybody. I wish I could. I wish. By the way, in case you guys didn't notice, what'd you say? Oh, this is interesting. I was with the Ravens from the start in 1996. Harbaugh was lucky to have Ray Lewis and Lamar. Besides these two guys, he had no good seasons. 2014 was all Gary Kubiak. I do believe Gary Kubiak was the reason they obviously won that Super Bowl. It was the best thing that ever happened to Joe Flacco. Okay. We'll see. Andy, you're so funny. I know Andy Lang's going to come on in 10 minutes and we're going to talk props, but I did want to get John Jastremski's thoughts. He told me he's signing on by 5:20. So we'll hopefully get his thoughts on the impact of the Giants. Just so you guys know, in case you didn't see before, the Denver Broncos line with the Bills for the divisional round has officially flipped. So the Bills were laying 1.5 to open on Sunday. And now that line flipped to the Broncos laying 1.5 at home. You could have a nice little middle there, but you could also tease the Bills. It's a very big, that's really intriguing to me. Seattle at FanDuel is still -7 against San Fran. Saw some spots had 7.5. Houston and New England, that line, I heard there's some 3.5s coming out, but still 3 on FanDuel. The total dropped 41.5 to 40.5. And this line with Rams-Bears has stayed still at -3.5 Rams. Total drop, though, 50.5 to 48.5. So that's some of the line moves. And there's definitely been some prop moves as well in the NFL market. I don't know where JJ is. Let me find out where he is. Where are you? Oh, getting in now. Okay. I just didn't want to start any other. Is the Darnold injury report anything? No. I don't care about the Darnold injury report. It's the dumbest thing I've ever seen. Obviously, Sam Darnold's playing. Like, no. So stupid. That's just like, I don't even know where that came from. Obviously, he has some kind of injury. They haven't put him on the report, but like, I don't care. He's freaking playing. Yes, I am still alive in the Survivor Splash Sport contest. Still alive. I lost, obviously, on the Packers and the Jaguars in a bunch of pools. But luckily, I was smart enough to spread the love, and I put some Bears in some. So that ended up saving me. The Rams saved me in some. But I'll obviously end up getting screwed if the Rams end up going to the Super Bowl. So that'll suck. But yes, I am still very much alive in the Survivor Splash contest. And breaking news, Kelly in Vegas and I will be at Radio Row at the Super Bowl. But we're not going to the game. We're going Tuesday to Friday of Super Bowl week to San Francisco. So Kelly and I are going to have a ton of wild stuff going down. I am very nervous for us. Don't enter contest with Kelly. Why? Why not? He pulled an oblique today, but said in the presser he's playing. Yes, that's Sam Darnold is definitely going to end up playing. JJ's finally signed in. Woo, woo! You ready, JJ? Give me a thumbs up. All right, John Jastremski joining the show, host of New York, over at The Ringer. Big day today for you guys. I know you got your pod coming up, JJ. Initial thoughts when you first saw John Harbaugh sign with the Giants?
Slam dunk, euphoric. Fired up. Best
euphoric. That's a big one.
I mean, Ariel, let's understand something. The Giants have been one of the worst franchises in the NFL for the past decade. That's not exaggeration. That's not hyperbole. That's how embarrassing they have been. They get a coach who gives them instant credibility. I understand you are the perfect person to talk to because you lived through the frustration of Harbaugh in the later years with the Ravens. Prop Queen, I think the Giant fan will take the idea of losing in the playoffs compared to the slop of football that they've watched for the past 10 years. You know you're getting instant credibility with John Harbaugh. There's no denying that. And I think it's the best day the franchise has had since they won the Super Bowl in Indianapolis in 2012.
That's what I said to the chat because the chat was all like fighting and whatnot. And I said, guys, let the Giants have a good day. Let the fan base have fun. I know there's a lot of injury concerns. Cam Scottaboo, Malik Neighbors. What's the status on them? Because I know on our Ringer Gambling show today, you said you're high on the Giants in 2026.
Oh, you can take it to the bank. I'm betting them over whenever the number comes out. I'm betting them to make the playoffs. And I get it, Ariel. People are going to look at the Vrabel-Pat comparison, and that's going to be the theme all the bettors hop on throughout this offseason. But I think the Giants should have had a better record this year. They were poorly coached. It's obvious they were poorly coached. I think Harbaugh will get a different level of play out of that defense. You bring back those two guys you mentioned on offense. You add to the team. I think they have a baseline to go and be a 9, 10, 11-win team. I really do.
Obviously, it's great. You'll have your head coach, the Giants, going into the NFL draft in a few months. What holes do the Giants have that if they fill them, they're even more of a contender?
It's a good question. They need better play at corner. I think that's obvious. Their corners stink. So they got to find a way to go and get a corner, whether it's free agency or the draft. In the draft, it's interesting. I could see the Giants getting another wide receiver. Now, there's an argument to be made that you don't want to take 2 premium picks in the first round and take them on wide receivers. My counter to that is, hey, look at Philadelphia and A.J. Brown and Devontae Smith. When they were at their best, not this year when they were a hot mess, there's a formula and a blueprint for that working in a big way. So I like the idea of having insurance for Malik Neighbors. There are 2, 3 top receivers in the top 15. Go and get one of those guys, and then you really set up Jackson Dart to go and have a massive leap in his second year.
How much do you believe in Jackson Dart?
So I like him a lot as a player. I think he's got swag. I think he's got the right mentality to handle New York. He's not fazed by pressure. He can move around. He can throw the ball downfield. He's not an amazing deep ball thrower. He's not Drake May in that regard, but the arm is more than good enough. Here's the question. Durability. Is Jackson Dart going to be able to play 16 to 17 games on a regular basis? If the answer to that question is yes, the Giants are in really good shape. If it's not, you're going to have problems.
Sean Michael keeps going off in the chat about New York sports, and he says a lot of crap about the Giants, a lot of crap about the Knicks. Any thoughts before we go into the divisional round of the playoffs, what your Knicks thoughts are?
Yeah, I'm really down on what I've seen from Karl-Anthony Towns this season. And that is not some crazy take. If you've watched the Knicks over the last few weeks, he's looked like a lost puppy. He's a clear liability on defense, and he has looked disengaged and disinterested on offense. Look, the Knicks are going to be in the playoffs. They're going to be one of the top 4 seeds within the East. We all know that. But if you're dreaming about winning the East, you're dreaming about winning a championship, you need to get a better version out of Karl-Anthony Towns. And I applaud Mike Brown for after the game absolutely reading him the riot act and ripping him as it was deserved. It's justifiable. And it's a major, major riddle Nick's got to figure out at some point in time.
Yeah, guys. And in case you don't know, John Jastremski hosts the New York podcast over at The Ringer. So everything New York is his bread and butter. The Knicks approaching the trade deadline and all-star break. Do you see them making any big moves?
It's a good question. They could probably use another big. Are they going to be able to do that? They're going to have to move Yabusele in order to do so. You can always sell me on the idea of getting a backup point guard, but Deuce McBride can't go anywhere. There were a lot of rumors about him getting traded early in the year. I kind of subscribe to that theory. He's been one of their most efficient players. Can't trade a guy like that. Way too important to their 2025, 2026 success. So I'll say at the moment, if the Knicks make a move, target bigs, backup, defensive-minded bigs. That's what I'd be looking at.
As of yesterday, the Knicks were the front runners to be the Eastern Conference winners. But with all the injuries, drama, and losing last night, I don't know how confident I am in this short favorite. I want to get to the divisional round thoughts. Anytime touchdowns has been your favorite thing in this season to bet. You've been crushing them, especially for these primetime games. Let's start with Saturday. What do you got?
Okay, you're right. I've been red hot. Let's not mush it now, but I've been with you every Thursday, so
Yeah.
We're feeling good about these. Okay, I'm pulling up Buffalo now. Buffalo, Denver. Dalton Kincaid, I like it, plus 290. Scored a touchdown last week against Jacksonville. Josh Allen, I think, is going to look to him in the red zone because I think Denver is going to do a really nice job at trying to take away the run. They're going to be run-focused. Therefore, there'll be opportunities in the passing game for Dalton Kincaid. The other one I like, Ariel, I'm coming on. I'm giving you hammers right out of the gate. Bo Nix, a little over 3-1 because you see these quarterbacks, especially inexperienced quarterbacks, run a lot more in the postseason. So I don't love the Denver running game. I'm going to take Nix plus 310 to go and score a touchdown. Now, in the nightcap, I like these two anytime touchdowns that much more in this game. I got Charbonnet, who's been good to me all year. Even money. Seattle inside the red zone. They trust Charbonnet a lot more than Kenneth Walker. We'll take him at minus 110. And with the loss of George Kittle in the red zone, Brock Purdy looks to guys he can trust. McCaffrey's the obvious one. The other is Juwan Jennings, who scored a boatload of touchdowns at the end of the season. He's one of my favorite players in the league, and I'm not just saying this because he's got JJ attached to his name. He's a badass. He's super tough. He gets chippy, and he's going to score against the Seattle Seahawks at plus 230.
Oh, okay. I love this little bit of plus money and some value. You mentioned to me also San Francisco. Kyle Juszczyk, you liked him this weekend as well.
I do. I would play his over for receiving yards because he can be involved in the passing game. We've seen that in prior Super Bowls. There's obviously a comfort level for him and Kyle Shanahan's offense, and there's more opportunity now with George Kittle not being there. So Kyle Juszczyk, circle him down, play his overs.
Anything else on Sunday?
On Sunday, listen, you know this. Me and our guy Raheem are heads up on these games. I'm all over the Texans. I think their defense is the best defense that the NFL has going. I think those two tackles for the Patriots are going to have a really hard time blocking Anderson, blocking Hunter. So give me Houston outright. Don't even mess with the points. They're going to win the game. And I'm giving you alt spreads for the Rams. Not even messing with 3.5. I think the Rams win this game. It's a flex. They're clearly a better team. And there's a reckoning for a very fortuitous Chicago team all season long. So I'm not even going to come on and give you the 3.5. It's boring. It's basic. We don't do that around here, Ariel. Minus 9.5 at plus 200 for the Rammies.
Oh my goodness. We're going to say Rams actually win by double digits, unlike last week when they were a 10.5-point favorite in Carolina. Damn.
This is you know what, Ariel? They had this scare last week. That's the way I look at it for the Rams. Some are going to be scared. I go the other way. They found a way. I think they're going to play much better against Chicago than they did against Carolina.
Last question from the chat before I let you go. They're still stuck, a lot of them, on the NBA conversation with the Knicks. I know we're flip-flopping around sports and whatnot, but I just go by what the chat wants to hear. They want to know if you think there's going to be some kind of big trade, maybe like you trade, King K said, Cat for Laurie or Laurie and Giannis. I mean, you think any big splash is going to be made?
I'd be stunned if the Knicks made a trade for Giannis at this point in time. Now, I think that's an off-season conversation. Now, again, you got to see what Milwaukee decides to do. If Milwaukee says, hey, we're putting Giannis up, it's now or never, that's going to lead to a very interesting conversation for Leon Rose. But I think in a perfect world, the Knicks would like to keep their team for the most part as is, see if they can make a run this year, and then acknowledge at the end of the year, hey, we had it right or we didn't have it right.
Mr. New York, you got your podcast. You said you're recording today. What can the people expect, and when's it going to be released?
Yeah, it's a great question. We're in the middle of it right now, but for you, we do just about anything, Ariel Epstein. We love the prop queen.
Big day for New York.
You're our girl. We'll have our pod up in a little bit. Harbaugh reaction. The great Adam Shine will be with me, which is a fun spot. And then our picks for the divisional round. Plus, are the Mets going to go and give Kyle Tucker $50 million a year? My goodness. Pretty wild to have a corner outfield with two guys making $50 million a year. But, hey, Steve Cohen could do it.
Yeah, well, they clearly only focus on lineup and never their pitching. John Jastremski, the only guy to listen to when it comes to New York sports. Thanks, as always, for coming on, and good luck to the bets this weekend.
My pleasure, prop queen. Let's get it. I'll see ya.
Make sure to check it out on Spotify, Ringer Podcasts, and YouTube. Mr. New York, John Jastremski. Up now. There's not many people in the world that, I go by Prop Queen. I did not gift myself the name, but I did trademark it because other people gifted me the name. People have said Prop Prince, Prop King, Prop this. And I'm like, no. There is one that I 100% feel should be dubbed Prop King. And that is Mr. Andy Lang from WagerTalk. What's up, Andy?
Whoa, big praise. I love it. I love it.
I really appreciate, by the way, that the colors in your background are Ravens colors. That's real nice.
I'm a Ravens fan. I like the team. I like Lamar. The only thing I like more is delusional New York Giants fans.
Are they your most delusional fan base?
No, it's the Jets. The Jets. The Jets every year
I think they've kind of just succumbed to the fact they suck.
Every year they will talk themselves into something positive. And the Giants at least have hope. The Jets are hopeless. But I like John. I know his podcast. He does a great job, but I do love Giants fan. We got the coach. All we need is a quarterback that doesn't get hurt. We just got to add depth to defensive line. We got to add a corner. We got another wide receiver. And we might be there. We just need a team.
Super Bowl. Here we go. No, I am actually excited for the experiment because just like Patriots fans, you find out, was it Brady? Was it Belichick? And I think we figured out who it was. So now we're going to find out those same answers in Baltimore. But let's get into where we can make money. We just talked a little bit of NFL divisional round with JJ. I'm going to talk props coming up. I know you've got stuff, but is there anything tonight that from the prop perspective stood out to you?
Let me pull up y'all.
I know you do a lot of hockey.
Yeah, I'll give you a hockey. Noah Hannafin for the Golden Knights over 1.5 shots on goal. This has hit 71% of the time this year. He went under last game, but he plays Toronto. They allow the most shots on goal. So Noah Hannafin over 1.5 shots on goal in NHL. It's a great night in NBA. Luke Cornett over 6.5 rebounds is plus money. He keeps going over, but he comes off the bench. Wembanyama starts. The secret is Luke Cornett plays more minutes than Wembanyama. He's out there more, so he gets more rebounds. 8, 12, and 7 his last 3 games without Wemby. So Cornett over his rebounds. Cade Cunningham's on the tear over 25.5 points. I don't like big numbers like that, but I can't argue how good he's been. averaging 9 made field goals, 6 free throws, 40% from threes. My favorite one tonight is Amen Thompson for the Rockets, over 21.5 points plus assists. Ariel, this play is 17-3 in the last 20. 17-3 in the last 20 games, and you're getting a discount because
juiced?
No, you're getting a low number because he's playing the Thunder, and the Thunder, this great defensive team, but they've been sliding, and he went over this earlier this season against the Thunder. So that's why this is a bet. You're getting a discount, you're getting a fair price, and it's a matchup that he's exploited.
How much do you care? Because this is something I care about. It doesn't mean it loses all the time. It doesn't mean it. When there was a previous matchup, as long as there's not like a game in between, but the previous matchup, if it hit, I tend to just stay away.
This number should be 24. It should be 24 and a half. You're getting 3 freebies here. He plays a boatload of minutes. This is that's my favorite one. Nurkic over 12.5 points. He's been good. Mikal Bridges was a disaster last night. You go back to him, 8.5 rebounds and assists. Oh, and LeBron over 5.5 rebounds. He's getting 10 rebound chances in the last 5 games. So LeBron over rebounds is a good one as well.
How much on the Lakers does anything with players in, out, like a Luka? I mean, does Rui Hachimura, does that impact your LeBron handicap?
No. Jake LaRavia was a really good one when Austin Reeves went out of the lineup, but the books figured that one out, and that line's completely out of the water. They're kind of a mess right now. Luka's he's just shooting the ball way too much. He's kind of a stat vacuum. You see the offense get real dead when he goes into I'm just going to dribble the ball up and shoot. So you got a lot of players that are not getting a lot of stats, and I think it revolves around Luka doing a little bit too much hero ball. So rebounds is kind of the only way. DeAndre Ayton's been good against rebounds. When he goes up against a bad rebounding team, take him double-double. You get plus money.
This is unreal. See, this is why I gave you the high praise. Prop King. Absolutely. You are.
Thank you.
You are fantastic in every single sport. You're so well-rounded in all the props, but the one that matters the most to everybody is always the NFL. NFL is the king. NFL Divisional Round coming up this weekend. Let's start with Saturday. We'll go game by game, see what you like. And I know over at WagerTalk, you've got a ton of stuff going on. But Buffalo at Denver, that line did flip. Was Buffalo favored, and now Denver's favored at home. What you got?
RJ Harvey, anytime touchdown. This opened at even money. It's down to minus 120 for good reason. I don't like touchdown props. The value is just not there. The numbers are terrible. But, he didn't score against the Chargers, but he scored in 5 straight before that. And this is a bottom 3 rushing defense, no matter what metric you use. Rush attempts, rushing touchdowns. So RJ Harvey. And then I love these 2 tight ends for Buffalo. I did a same game parlay on a video earlier today. Dalton Kincaid, 36 plus receiving. Dawson Knox, 22 plus receiving. This is a Buffalo team. They were thin at wide receiver to begin with. They lose 2 guys for the year, sadly. They need guys, and Denver gives up over 5 receptions and 58 yards per game to tight ends.
Mm-hmm.
The last 3 games that they've played against Denver, Kincaid has gone over and Dawson Knox has gone over. So I like the 2 tight ends for Buffalo go over their receiving yards.
So do I. Big fan of the Buffalo tight ends. I just never know how to decipher between the 2, which is why I understand the parlay angle. Is that the way to really approach it then?
You get plus 250. You can pick one of them. I think they both hit. Who's he throwing? He just there's not a lot of options in the passing game, and the tight ends
great against wide receivers. They're just bad in the middle of the field.
That's the thing. They're really good against wide receivers. It's not like Buffalo has, the burner to take away attention from everyone else. And they also got Ty Johnson. I love betting on Ty Johnson in the regular season. He's banged up. I don't know if he plays this week. So the options are very, very limited in the passing game. And Josh Allen loves the tight ends. He can trust them. They don't drop passes, puts the ball on them. They're going to catch it.
Absolutely. I agree with you there on the Buffalo tight ends. Saturday night, 8 p.m. Eastern time, Niners at Seahawks. Seahawks laying a hefty 7. Totals dropped just a point, 45.5 to 44.5. We just watched these 2 play a few weeks ago where the Seahawks won 13-3. The Seahawks dominated every statistical category over the Niners except kind of the points. For all the rushing yards, the total yardage, first downs that they did, time of possession, everything. The Seahawks should have scored way more than 13 points, Andy. How are you approaching this game?
You're right. This is terrifying for Seattle. This has got terrifying Sam Darnold performance written all over it. I agree with John. Kyle Juszczyk, we had a big bet. That was one of our 5% plays, was Juszczyk over his receiving yards. He flies over in the second half. I think you could go to his receptions and get a little bit better number. 1.5 receptions. He had 4 last week. Over in 2 out of the last 3 with Kittle out. Over in 3 out of the last 4 with Seattle. I think Jake Tonjes is a must. It's a must play. 37.5 receiving. He's had 41 plus the last 4 games with Kittle out. The last 2 he's had over 50. This line is really, really low. Tonjes is another guy, comes in. They don't really miss a beat with Kittle out. Like, he's not Kittle, but Kittle wasn't at 100% in the previous games. Tonjes is going to come in and be fine. He's got the trust. And then,
do you like him over receiving yards? I think it was 35.5.
It's up to 37.5. So the market's already telling you, get on it now. And I would play this up to 40. I think Tonjes is very, very trustworthy in the offense.
He's gone over in all 4 games without Kittle.
I know. I love him. And this is the great prop that like nobody pays attention to. Like, only people like you and me are like talking about Jake Tonjes, but when you bet props as much as we do, we know all these like role player guys and the backup guys. And nobody wants to bet on the Seattle running backs, but I just can't ignore how good Zach Charbonnet's been in the passing game. You get a really good price on over 1.5 receptions. He's got 14 targets the last 5 games. He's gone over in 3 straight games. Only 2 receptions. I think he's out there if there's a hurry up at the end of the game or at the end of the first half. So Charbonnet over 1.5 receptions. But again, you're betting on a Seattle running back. That's terrifying.
Well, I like them in the passing game. I just couldn't decide which one, Kenneth Walker or Zach Charbonnet. My numbers tell me that Kenneth Walker over his longest reception, over receiving yards, has been more consistent. Maybe you go Charbonnet over receptions and Walker over on the yardage, but it's really hard to decipher between the 2.
Impossible. Like, you're best off not playing it. You don't want to have your hard-earned money on a Seattle Seahawks running back. It's torture.
It is, and it's torture when you're playing each other for the 3rd time, because it's just who the hell knows? But we do. We kind of know. That's what our job is, I guess. Sunday, 3 p.m. Eastern time, Texans at the Patriots. These teams haven't seen each other. Big question mark that I think we got answered. It seems very unlikely to see wide receiver Nico Collins for the Texans. How are you approaching this game?
Yeah, I would say no way you're going to see him after being carted off. Oldie but goodie, Ramondre Stevenson over his rushing. Books continually have him undervalued. Oh, yeah, 37.5. He's gone over in 6 straight. What even better way to...
Houston's been playing defensively?
I think the way Houston has been playing defensively helps this play. What better way to protect Drake May than to hand the ball off? They trust him. The big story at the beginning of the year with Ramondre was he fumbled. Vrabel was like, doesn't matter. He's our guy. And now he's trustworthy. He had 10 attempts last week. So I think Vrabel really tries to protect Drake May by running the ball quite a bit. And Ramondre's their hammer. So Henderson comes in, tries to get the big splash play, but if I'm Vrabel, I'm handing the ball off quite a bit. I don't want this pass. I mean, Ariel, they were getting to the quarterback last week with rushing 4. They didn't even have to blitz. So they're gonna be laid back, trying to take away the long ball from Drake May, who's been the best in the league this year from passing long. I think Ramondre has a big game. And then Woody Marks under 8.5 receiving. He just doesn't catch the ball. He's under an 8 straight. Like, he had no catches last week. Yeah, he doesn't catch the ball. They don't throw it to him. So Woody Marks under his receiving.
That's a good trend to know. Under 8 straight for Woody Marks. Rams, Bears. Rams laying 3.5. Total drop 50.5 to 48.5. Sunday night, 6:30 p.m. Eastern time. I have believed all year the Bears are frauds, and every time they keep telling me I'm wrong. What do you think?
It's hard because, the playoffs they're kind of the ultimate, like, you can't fake it in the playoffs. Like, everything kind of gets exposed, and yet
eventually
here we go. The Bears somehow get out of town against the Packers. It's setting up great for the Bears. Cold game, Matthew Stafford, tough in the cold. I would go back to Kyron Williams. This has been a great one all year. They got his total at 59.5 rushing. This play is 14-4 to the over. Again,
he's been crushing it on the road.
Yeah, he crushes it on the road. Cold weather. He should get a few more carries. He's always around that 13 to 14 mark with rushing. And if you do believe the Rams are going to be ahead, he's going to get some carries. Blake Corum seems to be the, like, I don't know. People think they're cute and sneaky bringing up Blake Corum. Like, we get it. We all listen to the same fantasy football podcast. You're not different, but you're always forgetting about Kyron Williams. Like, his number is always too low. He gets the lion's share of the carries. So,
but it's always going to make you sweat. It's always going to make you sweat.
Well, yeah, all of these are going to make you sweat. Like, here's one that made us sweat. We had a big play on Colby Parkinson over his receiving. He gets there on that last catch, that last touchdown. I'd go right back to him. Over 19.5 receiving, over an 8 straight, cashed on the last touchdown pass. Higbee was involved. That was frustrating. But Parkinson still gets open looks, and that catch last week
over longest reception last week, so I was very happy.
That got there on that last one. Yeah.
Yeah, well, no, the longest reception for Higbee was the first half.
Oh, Higbee. Oh, you had the over on Higbee.
Longest reception. It was nice.
Good call on that one. I'd go back to Parkinson. And then Kyle Monangai over 7.5 receiving. I love these receiving props from running backs that they can get there in one pass, and he's done that the last couple games. Technically over in 4 straight, but again, one screen pass you can get over on this one.
Someone in the chat mentioned Puka Nacua. Joseph Rodriguez said Puka's going to go off. Public player. How do you approach the public players this deep into the playoffs?
I don't play him. You're not getting a discount on the line. Like, playoffs are really different from the regular season. The way I approach regular season for NFL is I want a guy that I can play like 5 games in a row. Like at the beginning of the year, Christian McCaffrey over his receiving. I think it hit for like the first 9 games. You can't really look for those types of streaks in the playoffs because it's just a one-off. So when you're looking at the biggest of the name guys, those lines are just hammered into place. It's like trying to pick the spread in the playoffs. You're not going to find the best number. That's why the sharps, they're going to be betting on, Oakmont college basketball tonight because they can get a 5-point discount when the books don't have it right. But Puka, none of those big name guys are going to get my money.
How do you approach the playoffs differently than you do the regular season when you're handicapping props?
So in the regular season, I'm looking for streaks. I'm looking for guys that are doing it every week. Playoffs, you're looking for matchups. That's why something like Jake Tonjes, I just love that one with Kittle out. You would expect this, San Fran to have to try and score points, and Kyle Juszczyk over his reception. That's a guy that they can get open on some design plays. I want these lower numbers. I want these guys that the general public is not really paying attention to. And just matchup proof. It's one of the reasons why I like Ramondre. Ramondre is one of my favorite. I think that's how you have to beat the Texans, is just ram it up the middle, and Ramondre is the guy there. It's all matchup based.
Andy Lang, catch him over at WagerTalk. Bump Sports is his handle. What do you got going on at WagerTalk going into the divisional round of the playoffs?
Well, we're running a really funny special. Did you know I graduated from Indiana University?
I didn't until you told me this last week.
Yes. So I can't explain to people how bizarre it is that we are playing for a football national championship.
Sure.
This is not supposed to happen.
You've been a basketball school for forever.
And all overnight, we're not. Nobody cares about basketball anymore. Like, we are a football. So it is the strangest thing ever. And Joe Ranieri's down in Miami. So Joe and I are going head to head. But we're actually running a special for that. 7 days. You get Joe's plays and my plays. It's a smoking deal. So we're going head to head on Monday. But in the meantime, we're partnering up outside of the game. But Monday will be insane. And Joe and I have agreed to do a show together Tuesday morning. We will both have red eyes.
That was like me and we were at WagerTalk and we had the same thing going with oh my gosh. Why am I blanking? Me and Marco D'Angelo. We were on last call. And we were on last call, and on Sunday of the Ravens-Steelers game, win or go home, we were both on last call. And then the next week, I was like, well, I can't wait to watch you guys lose tomorrow, because that would have been the Ravens. It was whoever wins keeps their season alive one more week. We didn't expect the Mike Tomlin to be fired, or I guess stepped down. But anyway, Andy Lang and Joe Ranieri going head-to-head for the next 7 days and head-to-head for Indiana and Miami. Do you think your team is going to win and cover?
I just can't wrap my head around Indiana being this good. And every time they play, it's like they are this good. I mean, I'm reading articles about, is this an all-time team? And if they win, they go 16-0. Nobody's done that since like 1896. Yale is the last team to go 16-0. But I'm going to stick by my guns. I said whoever wins between Indiana and Oregon would win convincingly over Miami. I don't trust that Miami offense. And I've said all year, Coach Cignetti and Mendoza, they get all the headlines. Ariel, this Indiana defense is really, really good. They are nasty. I don't trust Carson Beck to keep up with Indiana. They're going to have to put up 27 to have a chance, because as good as Miami's defense is, I just don't think they're going to keep IU out of the end zone. So I'm going to stick to my guns. I said Oregon, Indiana winner was going to beat Miami, so I'll stick with IU. Homer pick.
Defense wins championships, and Andy Lang wins props. Catch him at Bum Sports. Thanks so much, Andy, and good luck this weekend and to your Hoosiers.
Thanks, Ariel. Good luck, everyone.
I've got prop queen edges of the day. So you got a little bit of NBA and NHL action from Andy Lang. I guess, let me see real quick if John Ewing posted NBA propaganda real quick. And, oh, he did. Okay. I'll give you NBA propaganda, but I didn't have time, to be completely honest, to handicap NBA today because I had to go downtown to the World Trade Center to shoot our Ringer podcast. So let's get to propaganda. Most bet on props of the day over at BetMGM in the NBA. Giannis Antetokounmpo over 44.5 total rebounds, points, and assists. Okongwu over 1.5 threes. Drew Holiday under 1.5 threes. Marcus Smart under 1.5 threes. And Noah Penda under 4.5 rebounds. Those are your most bet on props of the day in the NBA. So if you would like to fade the public, you can fade them right there. So I've got my prop queen edges going into the weekend. Early looks. I did this last week where I gave the early looks of the day. Prop queen, early NFL prop queen edges for the divisional round of the playoffs. So this is just a few looks of what I have, but I'm going to be releasing the prop queen divisional round prop guide today, to which any premium subscribers get access to at the Prop Queen newsletter. So you'll get every prop edge, essentially. It's not like selling picks. Some of it's telling you not to bet certain things, and here's why. So make sure to check it out. Premium subscribers get access to it included in their subscription. If you aren't a premium member, but you're a free subscriber, you can purchase said guide for $8.99. So make sure to check it out. And I showed all the free subscribers what it looked like from last week. And if you want to upgrade, you can. But I'm going to have that released tonight. Check it out. I'll post when it's out on social media. And if you're a subscriber, you'll get it straight to your inbox. Taking a look at some of those prop queen edges. This is just a short list of them. Bo Nix under 20.5 completions. He is averaging 18 completions overall this year against top 10 defenses in completions allowed. 16.5 at home. Buffalo's allowed the least completions per game. And 81% of quarterbacks have gone under their completions prop against the Buffalo Bills. Running back RJ Harvey to go under his 20.5 receiving yards. He didn't go over this once through 5 matchups against teams that are top 10 in receiving yards allowed to running backs. Not once. He's gone under in all of them. Buffalo allows the 6th least receiving yards per game to running backs. 61% of them have gone under their receiving yards prop. Running back for the Bills, James Cook, under 16.5 receiving yards. He's only faced one top 10 defense in receiving yards allowed to running backs, so not much sample size. But Cook is averaging 11 receiving yards per game on the road, going under in 6 of 9 games. Denver, 2nd least receiving yards per game allowed to running backs. 73% of running backs have gone under their receiving yard prop against them. The Bears quarterback, Caleb Williams, attempts per game went up against the bottom 10 defense in pass attempts allowed, averaging 34 pass attempts per game at home, going over in 6 of 9 home games. At home in prime time, Caleb Williams is averaging 36 pass attempts per game, going over in 3 of 4. The Rams allow the 7th most pass attempts per game. 61% of quarterbacks went over their pass attempt prop against the Rams. So if you do believe that the Rams are going to take a lead because they're 3.5-point road favorites and that the Bears are going to be playing from behind, attack the secondary, but Caleb Williams is going to have to throw the football, so you go over his pass attempts. DeAndre Swift, the running back for the Bears, over 8.5 yards for his longest reception. He's averaging 22 yards per longest reception. Swift's averaging 14 yards per longest catch in his home games, going over in 56% of home games. Rams allow the 5th most receiving yards per game to running backs this year. And in the last 10 games, 58% of running backs have gone over their receiving yard prop when facing the Los Angeles Rams. Kenneth Walker, over 11.5 receiving yards. I was going back and forth between the running backs in Seattle, but the better numbers were with Walker, who's averaging 26 receiving yards a game this year against teams bottom 10 in receiving yards allowed. That number drops to 18 at home, but it's still over this number of 11.5. The Niners allow the 10th most receiving yards per game to running backs. And in the last 10 games, 68% of running backs have gone over their receiving yard prop when up against the 49ers. For the Patriots quarterback, Drake May, under 19.5 completions. We bet this at 20.5 last week and it hit. We're going to bet the under again this week at 19.5. May is only averaging 18 completions a game when up against teams top 10 in completions allowed. That number drops to 17 at home. Houston's allowed the 7th least completions per game, with 65% of quarterbacks going under their completions. To what Andy Lang was saying, he says Ramondre Stevenson he really likes, because how are you going to protect Drake May? You are going to make sure he runs the ball so Drake May doesn't get pummeled. So he doesn't throw as much, under 19.5 completions. The Sam Darnold one happened before he got put on the injury report, so I'm curious. But again, I think it's a little silly. He'll be fine. Game plan has to stay the same if that's the game plan you have to try to beat your divisional rival. Sam Darnold over 229.5 passing yards. I have to see since the injury announcement if it went down at all. But this number is super telling, guys. He hasn't gone over 200 passing yards in either of the games against the Niners. And yet this number is 229.5. Well, against bottom 10 pass defenses, Darnold's averaging 250 passing yards a game. Drops to 235 against bottom 10 pass defenses at home. But again, still above this number of 229.5. And the Niners are allowing the 10th most passing yards per game. As Andy Lang and I discussed, we love Jake Tonjes this week, over 35.5 receiving yards. Andy says it's already gone up to 37.5. Without George Kittle, this number for Tonjes has gone over in 4 straight games, averaging 48 receiving yards a game without Kittle. The Seahawks also are a great matchup for him. They allow the 6th most receiving yards per game to tight ends this year at 64 a game. 57% of tight ends have gone over their receiving yard prop against the Seahawks. We're going to take the over, Jake Tonjes, on receiving yards this weekend. Yes, Sam Darnold's questionable, but he will be fine. It's win or go home, and you're the 1 seed, and you had the week off. He'll be fine. I'm not worried about it. That's all I got for you guys today. Sorry I couldn't cap NBA or NHL, but Andy Lang did give you guys some of that good info. I had to do the Ringer show. But again, keep an eye out. I'm going to have the Prop Queen Guide ready to go. Some of the info I just gave out is going to be in that Prop Queen Guide, but then there's like a ton of other stuff in there that's really good research and information to help you guys make better bets. We'll be back tomorrow. Mid-Major Matt will join the show, 5 p.m. Eastern time here on the Prop Queen Pod, getting you ready for the NFL Divisional Round. Maybe I'll have a little NBA, but I'm going to be very NFL focused for the next few days because the NBA has been kicking my ass. I've been losing in the NBA by like the hook in like 2 straight nights. I just want to kill them. So I don't know. And NFL's been nicer to me so far, but NFL's king, right? Anthony Edwards ruled out for tomorrow already. He's still out. Great. Yeah, so I don't know. I'll take a look at the NBA tomorrow maybe, but definitely being NFL heavy. But Mid-Major Matt will have a lot of info for us as well in the college sports arena, so we'll make sure to ask him about that. Good luck to all your bets tonight. Check out the Prop Queen prop guide for the divisional round of the playoffs coming out soon. So subscribe to the PropQueen.com newsletter or just wait until I post the link on social media. See you guys tomorrow.